Good morning. Hold on one second. Sumatra. My dad would say to me, why don't you get yourself a nice Italian girl? Get myself. Go get yourself a nice Italian girl. I always thought that was interesting. Now, what does that mean, a nice Italian girl? I remember the Italian moms growing up would always wait on you. You'd walk into the house, cookies, a plate of cheese and dried meats, coffee. The nice Italian women would never give you wine. My grandfather would, though. Always gave wine. Always. Even as a kid, he would have been arrested today for giving minors alcohol. I will never forget. I was raised like this. Go to my grandfather's house. Now, I was fortunate enough to grow up with people who were born and raised in other countries and hearing the broken English. Pour a little bit of ginger ale and then a couple of wine, red wine, homemade red wine. And the combo of red wine and the ginger ale was amazing. To this day, it is one of the most amazing mixed drinks you could ever have. Just try it sometime. And then my other grandfather would make me coffee. I would be in the kitchen with him, and he would reach in the cabinet and look at me and go like that, take the top off a bottle of whiskey and go blip, blip, put it back on, put it back in the cabinet, stir it up, and then he'd give it to me. And I grew up around alcohol. I grew up in bars and honky-tonks with my father playing music in bands in VFW halls and those various halls and church basements and gnarly ass smelly bars with jukeboxes. And I remember him sitting me down, giving me some change for the jukebox that you only played when the band wasn't playing. Grabbing a bag of Wise potato chips and a small bag of beer nuts. And I always got a little glass of root beer. I'm not talking as a teenager, I'm talking as a little kid. And be at the end of the bar. I guess if you brought a child into a bar, you'd get arrested, or the bar would be shut down. That was my normal growing up. Let's get back to nice Italian women. You need to get yourself a nice Italian woman. Like, where can I get them? Where's the order form? Is there like a catalog somewhere for nice Italian women? I can't say I've ever had a nice Italian woman. And I know what he means by that. A woman that serves you. I'd be sitting here. This is what would be happening if I had a nice Italian woman. I'd be sitting here and she'd come over and look into my coffee and say, "Can I bring you some more coffee?" I'd say, "Sure." And she would come over and put it down and say, "I made it just the way you like it." This is pure fantasy. This is like science fiction. And every now and then, some of the Italian girls I grew up with are like that. They're like that. And some of the gals I'm connected with that I grew up with on Facebook are like that. And I wouldn't know what to do if I had that kind of woman in my life. I never had an adoring woman in my life. Interesting. No, actually I did. I did. And I blew that one. I blew it. Totally blew it. Now that I think about it. I hear the cats. Some are crunching on their food and some are rolling around on the living room floor. There's the kind of relationships where people serve one another. There's the kind of relationships where the man expects the woman to do something. There's the kind of relationships where nobody does anything for anybody. He does his own thing, she does her own thing. And I always wonder, like, why is that even a marriage? And some people say, well, it works for them. Do you know anyone who has a marriage or a relationship that works for them? Tell me about that down below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like this video as well. I always thought that, well, it works for them kind of marriages and relationships were kind of odd. You know, not being judgmental. Well, actually, yes, I am being judgmental. As if that's the biggest sin. I'm judgmental. People think they're like real honorable when they say, well, I'm not being judgmental. Shut up. You're being judgmental every single day. If there's a gas station here and a gas station here, and you pull into this one, you're being judgmental. There's certain stores you go into and certain stores you don't go into because you're being judgmental. You're not just making an assessment, you're being judgmental. It's okay. It's okay to be judgmental. All right? It's perfectly okay to have the values of your grandfather. Well, that was my grandfather. You know what? Maybe Grandpa was onto something with what he believed about relationships, about sexuality, about work, about money. Maybe he was onto something there, okay? I get a lot of old man stuck in the past. You're old, and like the comment. You got to read the comments. And some people I just like delete. Some people I tell them to go like themselves. Some people I just engage with and have a little fun with. But the minute someone sees like gray hair, they think, old man. I guess there's like the kind of old guys that say, yeah, but I could still whoop your ass. It's like, even when I could whoop ass, I didn't want to. I'm not interested in whooping anyone's ass. I'd rather whoop your mind than whoop your ass. That's the edge that I have. Nice Italian woman. If I had a nice Italian woman, maybe I wouldn't get up so early in the morning. I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't be doing these videos. Maybe if I had a nice Italian woman, I'd still be upstairs right now. And as they say, if the house is rockin', don't come knockin'. Or is that a thing of the past? Did you ever know people that have separate beds and separate bedrooms? I think my grandmother caught my grandfather cheating or something, or working on somebody's downspouts. He also did like handyman work for like for a lot of widows. And he might have been working on some plumbing, you know what I mean? Plumbing. And I think he got caught by my grandmother. And in those days, couples didn't split up. They just got separate beds or separate bedrooms. But I grew up with my grandparents having separate bedrooms. I don't remember them having like one bedroom with two dressers in it. I don't remember that. I always remember Grandpa's bedroom and Grandma's bedroom. And from what I gathered about my grandfather, and I had him in my life till I was about 25, 26 years old. And my grandmother was in my life till I was 30. But he was a pretty chill guy. I think he blew it too. You come from a family of men that blow it, but stay in it. I'm not the stay in it type. I was single much longer than I was married. A nice Italian woman. To this day, my father will say, "You need a nice Italian woman." I remember saying to him a couple of years ago, "I met a nice girl, Dad. Those words came out of my mouth. She's a nice Italian woman." And I guess that meant she was traditional. She did Feast of Seven Fishes. She liked going to church. Had darker features. Now, I grew up, I had dark hair. My kids ended up being all like blondies. Go figure that out. Okay? A guy with my coloring and hair, and I have blonde children. Crazy. A nice Italian woman. What if I put that as a title on a dating site? Looking for a nice Italian woman. What would I get in response? And maybe only nice Italian women would understand what that means. It might bring the haters out too, right? Nice Italian woman. Do you want to sponsor a morning video? Or the morning videos as we chat? We might do these live. I'm still thinking about it. I think about a lot of things. I have a lot of irons in the fire. A lot of things get thought about. Not unlike many successful people, and unlike how I used to be when I was younger and super spontaneous and didn't plan anything. I now plan things. I was so spontaneous. Holy cow. I was throw stuff in a bag and go to Canada. Throw stuff in a bag and go 3 states over. Throw stuff in a bag, get a plane flight. Throw stuff in a bag and go to the beach. Literally, that fast. No thinking. Zero planning. Hey, I got 3 days. I'm going away. Boom, go. I've done that with cars, motorcycles, women, books. I've actually gone backpacking, literally backpacking, which means you hike with your stuff on your back. You go in several miles, find a suitable spot next to a stream, start a fire, string up a hammock, and I would bring in like a stack of comic books and spend 2 days reading comic books and not saying a word. Except like when a little squirrel or chipmunk comes over near the hammock and you look over at it and go, hello. There I go again, talking to non-humans. And when I say comic books, I'm not a superhero guy. I'm a science fiction guy. Everything that I read was always sci-fi and space travel, fantasy, big Neil Gaiman guy. When I discovered Neil Gaiman, it was really hard to go back to any other kind of comics. My favorite comics were EC comics, which were like weird science, that kind of stuff. Tales from the Crypt. Loved that kind of stuff. Loved it and still do. I will take a good graphic novel and just so immerse myself in it. And I have some in storage. I can't wait to get my Sandman comics out. I absolutely love. If you're into Sandman at all, there's one that came out, I'm guessing maybe 1990. I could be wrong. Called Orpheus. It's part of the Sandman series, and the front cover was glow in the dark, and it was a terrifying. It was like watching the best horror movie in comic book form. Incredible. It was the tale of Orpheus through the Sandman style of storytelling. Incredible. It's a collector's item now. I don't even know if I have it or if my ex-wife stole it and sold it. Because she did take a box of my comics, like super vintage comics, and they disappeared. I'll never forget that. A nice Italian girl. Do you have a nice Italian girl? Are you a nice Italian girl? Do women ever say, I need to find myself a nice Italian guy? I don't know if ethnicity means as much when referring to men as it does to women. When my father would say, you need to find yourself a nice Italian girl, I know what he meant. A woman that is domestic and so forth. And I'm happy to see that a lot of young women are becoming domestic again and knitting and into cooking and canning and freezing food and preparing dinner. And I see so much of that. I'm like, God, what the hell happened to my generation? Not a lot of them doing that. They wanted to be free from all that. And I know this is rocky territory now. But nice Italian girl is not the female equivalent of nice Italian guy. I do know that. It's a fun topic to discover and to talk about, and probably would make a better dialogue if I had a guest on what a nice Italian girl or what a nice Italian guy is. All right, have a great day. I'm back in the salon today. I have to chop some snow at the end of my driveway. Driveway is done. Enjoy your coffee. Thanks.